Tory leadership. He won less than a third of the votes. The race looks close. 20 dead in Jamaican gun battles. A warning's gone out to British tourists. The little girls sold to sex tourists for the price of a meal. And return of the split personality. Goran Ivanisevic goes home in triumph and his underpants.
In the northwest, more than 300 jobs are to go tonight at Marconi in Liverpool and BAE Systems in Barrow. And there are calls for the banning of an African recreational drug available here in the northwest.
Good evening. Michael Portillo has, as expected, come out top of the first round of voting for the Tory leadership. But the 5 candidates were closer than many had thought, and the contest failed to provide a clear loser who could be eliminated from the next round. The poll was only among Conservative MPs. Michael Portillo came first with 49 votes. Ian Duncan-Smith was runner-up with 39. Kenneth Clarke, a strong third with 36. David Davis and Michael Ancram tied on 21 votes. There'll now be a rerun for all 5 on Thursday.
No one expected this result, not the campaign managers and not the amateur bookies. In the atmosphere of a day at the races, there'd been a dead heat for last place, and that meant a rerun of all the candidates. As the skies opened, the front-runner discussed the form. His own vote was lower than some expected, and there wasn't much between his closest rivals. He admitted frankly there was no predicting the outcome.
What this confirms is there are 3 strong candidates.
It means you've got more of a fight than you might have thought.
No.
Does it not? Tell me what it means.
I've always thought it was going to be quite a tough fight. With the second stage really unpredictable.
In other words, he could lose the final ballot of party activists.
The members are generally confused. I mean, I haven't got a majority out there, but nobody else has either.
Pro-European to the souls of his hush puppies, Ken Clarke is counting on that. He's hoping his Eurosceptic party decides he's the man with most appeal and won't need too much persuasion.
I'm not a good arm twister. No. I leave that to other more physical candidates. I do find the Conservative Parliamentary Party, fortunately, is a body of men and women with whom one can have rational political debate. And one thing that holds them together is a genuine desire to win elections and get rid of a Labour government.
Just now, it's the right-wing Eurosceptic who's closest behind Michael Portillo, rather to his own surprise.
Almost everybody had said from the start that it would be a competition between Clarke and Portillo. In fact, it turns out now for me to be second, which is more than we had publicised or anticipated. So I'm very pleased to be in second place, and we believe now we have the momentum to go right on through and possibly win this competition, I hope.
The backmarkers are fighting on. The leading candidates are eager to poach their supporters, but for now, the candidates tied in last place are still hoping.
Well, we're going to carry on. The pressure that's come is from the grassroots, from the Tories who will vote in the last round of the election, and we feel a responsibility to them.
We've seen today a fractured vote within this party. We need someone who can actually bring the party together, and I believe I can do that, and that's why I'm carrying on in this race.
Tonight, behind the scenes, the campaigning and cajoling ahead of Thursday's rerun vote has started already. It'll go on and on until just 2 names are left in a ballot of all party members. No one quite expected what happened today, and now not many people will predict too confidently what will be the final result. John Pienaar, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, our political editor Andrew Marr is at Westminster. Andrew, what do you make of this result today?
Well, pretty extraordinary stuff, as John Pienaar was telling us there. I think what happens now is that the 42 votes of the bottom 2 candidates are, in a sense, up for grabs sooner or later. The top 3 are much more closely bunched than we thought, and that means there is going to be the most unholy struggle to pull votes away from Michael Ancram and David Davis and redistribute them. We are going to go through an even more torrid and extraordinary 48 hours than we've had today.
Yes, but what does all this tell us about who's actually going to win in the end?
Well, very difficult. It's a bit like herding cats. Tory MPs are some of the most independent-minded, some would say bloody-minded characters around, and they are going to be very, very difficult to predict. However, Ian Duncan-Smith is in a very interesting position because this contest is beginning to look a bit like a double veto contest. There's lots of people among the Conservative MPs who want to stop Kenneth Clarke. because they don't like his views on Europe. And out there in the country, there's quite a lot of people in the constituency associations who want to stop Michael Portillo because he's giving them all this stuff about the modern world, all this stuff about cannabis and homosexualists and all-women shortlists, and who knows where it might end, and they're not too keen on that. So between the two of them, they could actually knock out the two biggest and most vivid candidates in the race, Ken Clarke and Michael Portillo, and Ian Duncan Smith could well come through that and emerge as the ultimate victor. Now that is an outcome which I think nobody was really predicting even a week ago. It's starting to look like perfectly possible now.
Andrew, thanks very much. The Foreign Office is warning people visiting Jamaica to exercise extreme caution. It follows 3 days of gun battles between armed gangs and the security forces, which have left more than 20 people dead. The main political parties blame each other for the violence, which has so far been confined to the capital, Kingston. But there are fears it could spread to the tourist resort of Montego Bay.
3 days of gun battles have shaken Jamaica. Police and troops seem sometimes to be firing wildly, but they have faced sustained rioting. 3 of the dead were policemen, and at least 20 civilians have been killed already.
We're tired of the killing we're downtown. We're tired of that.
Fighting has spread to many areas since police trawled a notorious district of the capital, Kingston, looking for criminal gangs and their guns. But the violence, however it started, has a strong political edge. The main opposition party in Jamaica and some civilians accuse security forces of indiscriminate shooting.
Just in front of the Denham Town police station, we came under heavy fire, hundreds of rounds.
Jamaica has one of the world's highest murder rates, 530 so far this year, from a population of only 2.5 million. The drugs trade drives organised crime, and the Prime Minister is determined to press on with his mission.
To apprehend those engaged in criminal pursuits and to undertake a rigorous and unfettered search within any area where there is reason to believe illegal weapons and ammunition are held.
But the violence will make a poor country poorer still. Jamaica's tourism is vital. Britain and the United States are both urging visitors to take extreme care. But Downing Street says that as things stand now, Tony Blair and his wife will still go ahead with a short official visit to Jamaica planned for the end of this month. James Robbins, BBC News.
Here, the Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, plans to charge motorists £5 a time to drive into the centre of the capital. He wants to start the scheme within 2 years. All the money is being spent on reducing congestion and improving public transport. Several other British cities are watching closely.
The homeward grind in central London this evening. The average speed of traffic is now 10 miles an hour here and in many other cities. But London's mayor intends to be the first to introduce urban road charges as a deterrent to drivers.
Congestion is killing our business opportunities in this city. It's making it unattractive to firms to come here. And no one has come up with an alternative. I'd love to have an alternative that people didn't have to pay for, but this is the only show in town.
The charges will be enforced using cameras like these in the City of London, currently watching for terrorists. Computers can automatically identify the number plates of drivers who aren't registered as having paid. £100 fines proposed. The technology is unlikely to cause Ken Livingstone any problems. It's been proved to work here. Instead, his main problem is going to be the complexity of cordoning off such a large area of London. And other heavily congested cities like Bristol are watching, prepared to let London make mistakes some believe are inevitable.
With a city of strategic importance like London, it seems quite dangerous, really. It's a very risky strategy for the mayor to introduce it in London, where clearly, if it went wrong, it would be an absolute disaster.
The practical problems suggest tolls could be at least 5 years away, even in London, and opponents will put many roadblocks in their way. Tom Simons, BBC News, Central London.
Months of uncertainty in the banking world is over after the government said it would block an £18 billion merger between Lloyds TSB